you stuck on a plateau with your French speaking? Do you really want to know how to bust through that and make rapid progress? In this video you'll discover which mode of learning you're in so that you know exactly what to focus on to speak well. You'll learn how to overcome that awful plateau feeling and get speaking French easily. You'll also learn how to make even more progress with your French speaking. Whatever level you get to when you're speaking French, there's always this point when we just don't seem to make any more progress, and it's really frustrating. Hi, I'm Christine Cam, founder of Simply French Online and creator of the Real French Method. I help people speak French easily so they can have realistic conversations, rapidly building confidence in speaking French. Now, as an English person learning French, I consider myself a lifelong learner. The French language is so vast that it's always going to be a work in progress. And much as we try, sometimes we just seem to hit a wall, and it feels like we're going backwards, not forwards. Well, today I am showing you my own success path and offering some solutions as to how you can make great strides forwards with your French speaking with the minimum of effort. Firstly, let's look at what kind of learner you are. This makes all the difference in how you swiftly make progress with your French speaking. Personally, for me, once I realised I was a tourist, a student or a passenger in my learning, I instantly knew how to shift my position in my learning. And no matter what level you are, we do tend to slip into these modes of speaking without even realising it. And that's when we plateau. Let's take a peek at what this really means. If you're a passenger on board the learning process to speak French, then you are someone who has the basic vocabulary and grammar to get by, and you're generally not afraid to immerse yourself in French. However, you'll rely on your school French or your past learning and will be not making a huge amount of progress at all. As a passenger, you're on a plateau and you're happy to just get by. This is where you will stay. Or maybe you're a tourist. Here in this mode, you're confident, and you're confident when you speak French, and you love having a go, and you will step up to the counter in the boulangerie to buy the bread. You will point, you will wave your arms, you will say anything that helps you get that bread. Your enthusiasm, your energy, they're charming, and the whole experience is enjoyable. You walk out of the boulangerie with your bread, but in the back of your mind you wonder if you couldn't have just had a better, more fulfilling conversation in French. And finally, are you a student? That was me for years. I lived in the UK. Around me there was no radio, no French TV, I had no French friends, and France was really too far away. It was too far to travel easily. As a student, you study, but you feel you have limited opportunity to have spontaneous conversations with people to practice what you've been learning. This mode is the most frustrating because it's harder to remember your grammar and vocabulary unless you're experiencing it in situations with others, in real life situations with others. So don't feel that you have to slot into one particular mode here. We all fit into any of them in all sorts of different ways at any different time as we change our situations and experience and develop ways to become more proficient with our French speaking. And that's at any level too. But in all three of these modes, the tendency is to feel frustrated at not being able to advance. You're on a plateau and it's so frustrating. And it's even more frustrating when we want to have a conversation in French. There we are with the golden opportunity to join in with a conversation right before us, only to be stunned by the fact that people are speaking so fast. And French people are not always going to slow down for you. They don't always know you don't understand. Why would they? Unless you say, and we don't always say because it can be a little bit, embarrassing. Especially when we're in front of our colleagues or our friends. So, what can we do when we're in this situation? Firstly, having worked out why you're on the plateau by checking out which of my modes you're in, student, tourist or passenger, you can then work out your area of focus. Here we have 3 areas: vocabulary for the beginner, or for those of you wanting to learn more; flow for those of you who are hitting a brick wall in terms of needing to get the learning method set up much more efficiently; and immersion for those of you who want someone to speak with. We all need all of these, in fact, and to various degrees at different times. Take Nick, for example. He was on a plateau and he's been speaking French with us in Conversation Cafe, getting by enthusiastically, but he is now well rehearsed in what he knows. He needs to learn more grammar and he needs to learn more vocabulary now. He needs the vocabulary module to progress with his knowledge, and he's been a bit of a tourist as well, relying on what he knows and using it with enthusiasm. Then try Lily, for example. She's been learning quite a lot of French, placing herself in the student mode. She has not had much chance to speak French and have spontaneous conversations in order to be able to have interactive practice just how she needs it. So she needs the immersion module and the experience to speak, and is now focusing on that in Conversation Cafe. Now thirdly, our example of a classic tourist is Lucas. He learnt some French at school and he started feeling a bit frustrated that he couldn't have more natural conversations, and he also wanted to use French in the workplace and have some freedom to travel with his work. That meant he needed to be able to have the freedom to have meaningful conversations, not just spout textbook phrases from the back of his head. And finally, Chrissie. Chrissie had been she'd been flipping around the internet, around YouTube. She got really frustrated because it just wasn't coming together, and she needed to be able to bring it together in a way that suited her learning style. The flow module brought her through all these blocks, and all the worries about being a perfectionist banished any fear of trying to be perfect. Chrissie was placed securely in the debutante level, ready to structure her learning and get conversing. All 4 of these people are now conversers and speak French without the heavy weight of worry. In fact, Nick has moved into the next level. He's been practicing and now he is far more able to say what he wants to say. He's working on learning much more vocabulary and much more grammar, and the conversations are more than just regular practice. He's reading more French and starting to understand newspapers for French learners and enjoying podcasts in French to help him learn even more. The aim of conversing together in Conversation Cafe is to master the language, so we have a group to develop this. And in this group there are French people as well learning English, so there's a culture of linguistic exchange to support progression or mastery level. That means you can start getting rehearsed in being at the table, for example, with French people, and actually being included in the conversations together and having deeper conversations and being able to understand what people are saying. It's so satisfying, and being able to answer back when you want to. So how can I help you with all this? Having learnt where you are on the scale of learning here, you will have a greater understanding of your particular needs. Let's quickly recap. You're a beginner and you want to get started in a structured way to speak French. This means you're a débutant. You've got some knowledge of French and you want to advance your speaking skills, but you have limited vocabulary and limited opportunity to speak French. You're a student. You'll have a go at speaking French, but with limited vocabulary and grammar, the conversation stops there. You're a tourist. You'll have a go from what you've learnt in the past, but you struggle to speak back to French people when they answer you. You're a passenger. Your conversations are starting to flow. You're a converser. Your conversations have more depth to them, and you're exploring new ways of speaking. You're initiating conversations about culture and using more detailed grammar. You're a discoverer. You're competent at most grammar and want to explore idiomatic expressions, talk about what's happening in the news, and start sounding far more French now. You're in the mastery phase. And there are ways I can help you speak French well. You can join the Conversation Cafe at any level, depending on where you are on your French-speaking journey. You can take one-to-one lessons if you prefer, and the immersive homestay, you can come if you really want to come to France and live the French life, experience the French culture, and stay here and have lessons, private lessons, to suit your needs. Stay in our country house and enjoy the personal attention that you need to get you speaking French really easily or progressing as you need to. The alternative is to stay as you are, today, tomorrow, next week, next year. If you want to get speaking French with me, then get in touch at Christine@simplyfrenchonline.com or learn more from my website, Simply French Online. Look out for my logo, Simply French. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Naturellement, if you feel that you know someone who can benefit from speaking French regularly in a structured way with a teacher at the helm, then I'm here to help. Let them know. Then hit share. À plus!